It was the smell of burnt coffee that woke me. Not mine, his apartment 3B every morning at 6:15 sharp. I heard the telltale scrape of a mug across his windowsill, and the soft pluck of a guitar string, like clockwork. We had never spoken, but I knew the way he coughed like he smoked too much, how he left his porch light on all night, how he only played music when it rained. Portland was good at silence, good at letting people disappear inside themselves. I moved there after Evan died. My fiancé gone in an accident on a Tuesday morning that still haunts my chest when it's quiet enough to feel it. My therapist said change would help. So I packed what was left of me and landed in this building that smelled like old wood and second chances. The man in 3B, his name was Jack. I learned that from the mail. I wasn't supposed to notice. He had the kind of presence that didn't ask for attention but still filled every inch of space when he was near. I never meant to memorize his routine, but grief makes you sensitive to patterns, and I was starving for one. We finally spoke during a power outage. The whole block went dark, and I lit 3 candles on my windowsill like it was a lighthouse for the emotionally lost. Jack knocked 15 minutes later, holding 2 cups of coffee. The instant kind, awful perfect. "You look like someone who wouldn't mind company," he said. "I look like someone who hasn't had it in a while," I replied. He didn't ask about Evan. I didn't ask about his left wrist, the one wrapped in a faded hospital band like a secret he wasn't ready to bury. Instead, we sat in the stairwell trading stories like war veterans. I told him about Evan's laugh. He told me about his sister Margot, who hadn't called in years. Over the weeks that followed, the hallway between our apartments became a quiet sanctuary. Sometimes we talked, sometimes we didn't. He'd play guitar, I'd sketch. We both needed someone who knew how to be near without needing to be whole. Jack was magnetic, but broken in places I couldn't map yet. The kind of man who wrote lyrics he never sang and drank tea like it was punishment. Still, I let myself want him slowly, cautiously, like touching something hot with the back of your hand. One night, he kissed me. It wasn't planned. It wasn't perfect, but it felt like oxygen. I didn't ask him to stay, and he didn't ask me to promise anything. We just kept choosing the same hallway. Then the night before my birthday, I knocked on his door and he didn't answer. His apartment was dark. His car was gone. He didn't come back the next day or the next. I didn't panic. Not right away. I told myself maybe he was visiting his sister, maybe he needed air, maybe I was just another page in a book he closed too soon. But on the 4th day, a man in a charcoal suit knocked on my door. "Are you a friend of Jack West?" The name hit different when spoken like a fact instead of a memory. He handed me a note. "If she asks, give her this, but only if she seems like she's ready to breathe without me." It was his handwriting. Inside the envelope, a photo of us from the stairwell, me smiling, him blurry in motion, and a letter not long, not dramatic. "I didn't leave you. I left the version of myself that could have ruined you. The hospital band was from 2 weeks before we met. Attempted, not my first, but you made me pause. You made me remember how light feels. I'm going somewhere I can rebuild. I want to earn the right to come back if I do. Save me a coffee. Jay." I cried until the candle on my windowsill burned out. It's been 9 months. I don't know where he is, or if he still plays guitar when it rains. But every morning at 6:15, I pour 2 cups of coffee. Just in case. The snow hadn't stopped in days. Minneapolis was frozen in place, like time had thickened along with the air. Ember sat on a city bus,
that barely made it through intersections, her sketchbook open on her lap, though she hadn't drawn in weeks. She was heading to a place she hadn't been in years, an old brownstone at the edge of Stevens Square. She had lived there once, before everything unraveled, before the diagnosis, before she pushed everyone away, including the only person who ever stayed long enough to learn what her silence meant. His name was Wes. They'd met at a winter exhibit at the Walker Arts Center. Her, a volunteer, him wandering through abstract pieces like he was searching for something he'd lost. He asked her if she understood the exhibit. She told him no, but she pretended to. They started meeting for coffee, then dinners, then mornings. Wes never asked her to explain her bipolar disorder. He just made space for it. When she couldn't get out of bed, he sat beside her on the floor. When she spiraled into manic tangents, he followed her words to the very end. They had something rare, until Ember stopped taking her meds again. The fall was quick, erratic laughter, overspending, wild confidence. Then the crash, screaming, crying, sleeplessness, paranoia. She told Wes she didn't need anyone, that she wasn't broken, she was beyond repair. He left after she told him she wished he had. That was 3 years ago. Now here she was, walking up his steps in borrowed boots and numb fingers. She'd seen his name on a flyer downtown. Gallery show, Saturday night, Wes Calder, frozen frames. She hadn't known he was still in the city. She knocked. No answer. Then the door opened slowly. Wes stood there, paint on his hands, wearing that same old sweater with the frayed collar. He looked older, quieter. He didn't look surprised. "Hey," she said. "Hey." She didn't know what else to say. "I saw your flyer," she added. "I hoped you would." They stood in silence, the kind that held too much history. Finally, he stepped aside. "Come in." The inside smelled like turpentine and cinnamon. His paintings were everywhere. Ice-covered lakes, blurred faces in snowfall, a woman sitting on a bench under a street lamp. It was her. She knew it instantly. "You painted me." "I never stopped seeing you," he said. They sat in the kitchen. He poured tea. Neither of them touched it. "I'm on new meds," she said. "They're working mostly." Wes nodded. "I figured you're here." She looked at him, tears threatening. "I'm sorry for the things I said. I meant them in the moment, but not forever." "I know," he said. "I left because I loved you, Ember. Not because I stopped." Her breath hitched. "Do you think people like me get to be loved for real?" "You were. You are." They talked for hours. About art, about the pandemic, about all the places they planned to visit but never did. He showed her the studio. She showed him her sketchbook. Mostly blank pages. "You stopped drawing." "I stopped feeling like I existed." He placed a pencil in her hand. "Draw now," he said. "Start here." She did. It was shaky, hesitant, but it was something. That night, he offered the couch. She declined. "Not because I don't want to stay," she said, "because I want to come back tomorrow." He smiled. "You will." And she did. Every day that week, she filled her sketchbook. He painted. They worked side by side, not talking about the past, just sharing the present. On the night of the gallery show, she stood by his side as people admired the art. No one knew that most of it was about her. No one knew she had turned from a version of herself she thought was permanent. After the last guest left, she turned to him. "What if I relapse again?" "You will," he said, "and I'll stay. Or if I can't stay, I'll wait." She kissed him then, soft and cold and real. And for the first time in years, Ember believed she wasn't just surviving. She was